Well, hey everybody, I am back for another weekly video to show you what I made this week and maybe some things outside of crochet world. And you know what? I'm going to start there. I'm going to catch you guys up on some things that I have been talking about all summer. And you're probably tired of me talking about this, how my job was about to end. And it really will. Like Saturday is my last day. Today's Sunday, so I have 5 more days and then Saturday, and might not even have email after that. And it's just been really terrible. But here's the news. I applied for a job like the very end of July. I want to think it was like even like the day before or the day after my birthday. And this is a dream. Now, I had my dream job that was just like very weirdly taken. Suddenly it was like, we're not going to renew you for next year, even though your evaluations are outstanding. It's just been terrible. But I had it in my mental calendar that last Thursday, August 6th, was the day that the application window was going to close. And then, no, it was Wednesday, because on Thursday, I got an email, just one of those like, are you still interested? And apparently I had put on there, one of the questions was, would you be willing to relocate? Now, this is about 2.5 hours away. And I do not recall saying no, but apparently I did. So somebody from the school emailed me and was like, hey, you said no to relocation, but you don't live in the area, and this is not a remote position. This is not remote type of work. And I was like, oh my gosh, my bad, because I absolutely will relocate for this. And then, so that was Thursday. And then late on Friday, like after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's the same time zone, I got an invitation for an interview. And I could have chosen Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of next week. Y'all, that is so quick. It's just from last Thursday to an are you still interested? And then the next day to say what time, when can you come in for an interview? And then I interview the day after tomorrow. I am so excited, but then also like, gotta like temper my, there's no promise, I don't want to go through all that devastation again if I don't get this, but please think good thoughts. If you watch this between now and Tuesday afternoon, please think good thoughts, or even, after, because maybe they haven't made their decision yet. I'm not the only one they're interviewing, I'm sure. But that happened. And back on what I was talking about with being so devastated all summer long, you guys, I'm just here to talk about this. I have been boo-hooing about knowing like that my last day of work is looming. And earlier this week, a couple of days ago, my work bestie texted me to tell me that she had lost her son. Like, and not to make like a good thing came out of somebody else's misfortune, but my God, did that put things in perspective for me. Like, I am not boohooing about not having a job anymore, because what? How do you lose your 36-year-old son just like out of nowhere? Like, he had a heart attack. I think if he was sick, she would have told me. And so yeah, that happened, and now I'm going to try to segue into crochet world, but here I go. That is a terrible transition, but here's what's going on in crochet world. I found out yesterday that I got accepted for a pattern test, so that's exciting. It's the second one I've ever done. The pattern was supposed to arrive after 12 today, so arguably it is still after 12 today. But I was kind of hoping it would arrive so I could get a jump on it before next week starts. But so in my next video, I will be able to show you the make from the pattern test, and it's gonna be cool. And it's a fall pattern, and which brings me to markets, because I have been saying maybe the last 2 weeks that I didn't have any markets scheduled. Well, I got kind of like itchy like on Saturdays, I'd just be like, I'm home. Like, I'm supposed to be setting up my tent and selling stuff at a market, and I was really just starting to miss it. So I started applying, or just looking around. I applied for 2, and for 1 I got accepted, but it's just kind of one of those like, do you accept everybody? So did I, like, you were accepted, congrats. And I'm like, But this is a third party that does multiple events in the area, and their social media marketing is pretty good. I don't know if this particular location is a good market, but I am quite positive that other events that the same company does are very popular, because I've heard of them. And so I did pay $75 to be there, and I'm hoping it's good, but if it's not, like, I'm pretty sure I'll at least make my booth fee back. And then I applied to a second market that picks up in the fall. Like, it only runs, it's called, it runs one Sunday a month. And the first one that I could apply for wasn't until October. And one of the things on the application was they wanted photos of my setup, and they wanted my Instagram, because they'd said that they are going to look at it. And they wanted a website. Well, I don't have a website. And it did say that some of the criteria that they look for, like, are you active on socials? Do you have a website? Is your booth set up nice? And I felt bad about that too, because I had videos of booth setup, but no stills. And so I was just like screenshotting from a video, and I even wrote, like, I apologize for the bad photos here. And then this market also required that everybody go to an online orientation, and the day I got the email, they were like, today is an orientation. So I logged on to that, and they did, again, like, say out loud, like, we look to see if you have a website, we look to see if you're active on Instagram. I was waitlisted, and they said the reasons could be for what I just mentioned, or the reason could be that there are other people selling items similar to mine. So cool, like, I'm not devastated. But the person that moderated the orientation did say, like, if, say, you do build a website, or say you do some things and then you get better at them, just send them to me and I'll update your application, which could increase your chances of getting accepted later. So I'm like, cool. But also, if I get this job, it's 2.5 hours away. I don't think that's feasible. So anyway, waiting for that. But it did make me very motivated. Did I say this already? That I'm just like really motivated to do a website now. And I watch some of you guys, and I know y'all have websites, and you sell your stuff, you sell your makes on a website. And I just, like, there are so many options. And I was just like, I don't know which one to go with. But then I was watching Passionate Kelsey, because, I mean, my God, is she good at social media. And her videos will just scroll when I'm watching YouTube. And it was something from like a prior Black Friday where she was like, oh, I need to go on Shopify. And I had gone onto her website before, and I was curious, like, who is her platform, or what is her platform? It's Shopify. So I think I'm going to be checking that out very soon. And of course, I will update you guys here. Which brings me to another terrible transition, because the whole point of me making these videos is to show you what I made this week. And last week, I set a goal to finish 3 out of 4 whips that I had been talking about. And at the time that I made the video, I'm like, okay, I got 4 whips that I really want to finish, and I'm going to do 3 of them before my next video. I don't know which 3 yet. Well, I have them. I don't have much else, but I do have the 3 things that had not been finished. So the first one is a mermaid that I had made out of scrap yarn when my scrap balls of acrylic yarn were just like overflowing out of this little piggy basket that I have. I'm like, I need to empty this basket. Well, I didn't empty it, but I did get it to stop overflowing, and it is much neater now. And I made a mermaid, but I had given her, so she's made with acrylic yarn, and I had given her hair with acrylic yarn, and I thought it was ugly. And so I wanted to do different hair, and I had seen somewhere an acrylic yarn mermaid with chenille hair, and I'm like, okay, that seems way less tedious than to go through like every hole on the head and poke through and do like pretty much like it's a crochet hairstyle. I didn't like the instructions in the pattern, and maybe because I mean the pattern designer did say like use chenille yarn for this, and I didn't because I was trying to use other stuff up. But anyway, I'm gonna stop talking about it. The pattern is by Madeline Mako, and this is my little Rastafarian, guys. Check her out. So why I was stuck on doing this, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but her scalp is, yeah, you can see it if I do this. This was the first hair color that I did, and I didn't like it. And then I was like, I really kind of want to do some blue hair to go with her outfit, but then I'm like, but that's the scalp color. Is it going to poke through? And yeah, the hair is a little bit too short, but I kind of like how Rastafarian she's looking. She's cool, right? This is not going to be the only mermaid that I bring to market because she's Caucasian and I want to have some representation. I don't want to have one mermaid and a white mermaid, so I'm going to have to go through my yarn colors and see what other kinds of mermaids that I can make. Oh gosh, I just set her down and I can like see this, but that's okay. This isn't a natural hair color. Maybe it is on mermaids, but I don't know. It's done. And I gave her hair that I like. So whip number 1, finished. Whip number 2 was a rug that I wanted to make for to go under my tent at pop-up markets because I had a whole bunch of vintage rug yarn when I had bought up somebody's stash, and it ended up being like yarn from the 80s, including some very, very, very scratchy Aunt Lydia rug yarn, but I used it all up. And it's a great size. I did not make it complicated. It's just a granny square rug with a border, but it's finished. I don't have any more of this yarn. And I don't know if I can back up enough to show you. Look at that. I can see through the holes. Okay, I'm back, peekaboo. Isn't that pretty? And then, it got to a point where these like last couple of rounds required almost an entire skein of that rug yarn. And then I thought, well, I'm just gonna use what's left, like the scraps, to make a border. And I was really thinking like I can only probably get around 1, maybe 2 times with the amount of scrap yarn that I have left. Oh no, 6 times. The single crochet uses so much less yarn than the granny stitch that I was able to make a border that is 6 rounds. You can tell where I started and stopped right there, but that's okay. I had just ordered on Amazon this like paint on backing to give it a non-slip surface. Now when I put it on my tile floor, like I immediately, I slid immediately. I didn't fall or anything, but it was very, very, very slippery on my tile floor. But then I wanted to take a picture of it, so I went outside. It stuck to my concrete driveway really well, but at a pop-up, it's either going to go on grass or on asphalt. So, but I do want to put like a non-stick and also just like weatherproof it a little bit too. I'm going to paint that on, but I'm going to go ahead and call this done because my goal was to use up the yarn, and I did. Yeah, that's number 2 out of 2. Where am I going to put this? Okay. Here's my girl right here. Number 3 was starting a couple weeks ago when I did the Show the Love IG challenge, where you find Instagram free patterns and then you make it, you follow the author, and then share on your own social media 5 patterns that you found on Instagram, or I think it was just 5 free patterns that you found anywhere, but then to share and to shout out the author and to share it on your own socials. And the first one, and it is packed away, I thought I didn't think to bring it out, but the first of the 5 that I did were these little tiny strawberries. and I was like, I really want to make a strawberry bag because I have these zipper pulls or keychains, whatever you want to call them, but a lot of times I want little charms to actually go with my bags and to just kind of sell them as a bundle or to upsell. And so it's like, I want to make a strawberry bag. And I think Kindle let me know that there was a free download on Kindle Cloud Reader for, it's called 100 pop-up granny squares, and it was free. It's a free download, and it had a strawberry granny square pattern. And I think I showed you one that I had made, but I did end up frogging it and just starting over because I didn't quite understand the directions. And then I had a moment later where I was like, oh, that's what they meant to do. But here it is. Isn't she cute? And then I put a little strawberry, the same free pattern that I had found on Instagram. The author is called Yarn Goals, and I think I had said in that first video, I don't think this author is a native English speaker because they used like very scientific terms for like seeds and stem and berry, but it's a really great quick pattern. I love the top. I just think that is a great, very realistic looking strawberry. And here is the bag. Please pardon me if you can see my like running shorts when I stand up, but it's cute. And it's like, here, let me, using my phone, but here's my phone case. So that can give you about an idea of the dimensions. It's just a little bit deeper or, longer than what I would need for my phone. It is a little bit more square than a lot of the bags that I make. I tend to do granny rectangles sometimes, but I like it. So this will definitely be at the market. I did not line it because I would not have met my goal. It is a little, I don't want to say it's messy because I very much painstakingly took time to weave in the ends and to burn any frays, but still, like, I would not, if it doesn't sell at this next market, I might put a lining in it later because I am a little concerned that if somebody drops keys in here a lot, it'll snag on the yarn. And because it is like double crochets, like it's very easy to like snag something on these loops and then mess it up. So, I mean, will I sell it like this? Yes. Would it be better with a lining? Yes. Let me see what happens. And I'm thinking like $20 for this. It was quick and didn't use a lot of yarn, but it did take enough of my time for me to charge. I don't think I can charge less than $20 for a purse. Not like that, not that size. That was all I did this week, crochet wise. I mean, I did a lot, not crochet wise. And there were a couple nights this week where I had an hour with my yarn. If any time, there were a couple nights when I had no time at all. But I did, since this was so effective, I had a goal and I met my goal. I did nothing else. Well, you know what? I did. It's just right here. I started working on this on an octo last night, but this is as far as I got. And I started on it last night and I wasn't really feeling great. And I was more watching TV than crocheting. And when I picked it up this morning, I was able to poke my finger through it. And I was like, dang it, I need to just frog it and start all over. Speaking of which, I got this when I brought up somebody's stash. What yarn is this? Because the label wasn't on it, but just for like comedic purposes, like what is this? What, I think I've seen these at Michael's. Is it called like anniversary cake? This is the hugest thing. This is the biggest cake of yarn I've ever seen in my life. And I want to know how many octos, or I don't know what else I would make with this. What other Amy would be variegated, or what other plushies? I don't know. But if you know what this is, could you drop it in the comments, just because it's just so fun, like ginormous. But this is as far as I am, and I will, as soon as I am done filming and editing this video, I will work on it some more. So, because it was so effective, here's my goal for next week. So by the time I film my video 7 days from today, Sunday evening, it will be August 17th, I will have done, number one, I had to do whip 404, and it was that tiger. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that tiger is the death of me. It's going to be done. In 7 days, that tiger is going to be done. I'm going to do, including that octo that I just started and including the pattern test that I have coming up, I'm going to have a total of 7 market-friendly-ish makes. Now, I might have a couple of like really, really easy things like chickens, like stuff that I can whip up. Not a keychain, like not that fast, but 5 market makes plus the octo that I'm working on plus the pattern test, which is more of like a large size item, but not like a showstopper item like the tiger is going to be. So I will have 7 more things that will be possible sales at my next market. I'm gonna end with a teaser. I have had an idea for a pattern since maybe the springtime, and I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but I'm gonna tease you a little bit more. I love to make yip yips, those Sesame Street aliens, like yup 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 yup. If you're my age, you remember those from Sesame Street. Look it up on YouTube. There's a lot of, man, like TV was blurry back then. Like I watched, I looked up those videos and they're like from the late 70s, and TV's come a long way in quality, guys. But anyway, if you do look them up, you're going to be like, wow, that's really blurry and very lo-fi. I mean, they're like very clear. There's no CGI back then. They were real puppets. But somebody picked one up and didn't say yip, 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 yip. They said something else, and this is my big tease. But it's going to be a free pattern because this is a confession. Don't at me, please. I'm being honest with you because there's a lot of dishonesty on this. I took a screenshot of the pattern that I want to create and I put it into ChatGPT and I said, are you able to design a crochet pattern from this image? So I have a starting point, and I think that's been my problem all summer long, is like I want to write a pattern. I mean, more than like, I do have 2 patterns on Ribbler, but they're like really simple. 3 I got, yeah, and 1 like should not even be a paid. It's just like a wristlet. And I think I've sold like 2 of them because I was selling it for $2. Like that should be free. And I do have my taco pattern and my splitting llama pattern, but I kind of feel with the splitting llama, I relied too much on somebody else's pattern, and I tried to get that person's permission, but I couldn't. Like I reached out on Instagram, but never got a response. So it is free because I don't really feel like it's mine. The same with this, because I am starting with AI, it's not 100% mine, and I'm sure I'm going to need to alter it, and I do have some ideas for like how to do some of the body parts that may not be in what the AI provided, but it's going to be free because it's not mine. That would be cheating, and that would be unethical to charge people. So I will be back next week. I hope I am successful in meeting that goal. That's a big one. That's a much bigger goal than what I made last week. So it might be another deal with this is all I did, but I also am going to have to do those market makes. So there will definitely be more to show you. It was great hanging out with you, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Bye.